Good afternoon, Andy Beckley. We're here in South Park. We're here at the Game Reserve, and this is one of our hidden treasures in the South Hills. And what we like to do is we like to find these special spots in throughout South Park, Bethel Park, our surrounding neighborhoods, and show the people just some of the areas that they might never have seen before. And I know in walking through our community, I ask people if they've ever seen the buffalo, and they're like, "What do you mean?" They don't even know that we have buffalo here in South Park, here in the South Hills. And I just want to take a chance to let you talk a little bit about South Park, about Allegheny County parks in general, and what we have here for all the residents of Allegheny County here between the buffalo and the peacocks and the ducks and geese and everything else. You have a fine staff, an outstanding facility here. How many acres do we have here in South Park?
About 2,013 in this park alone.
And what are some of the hidden treasures here in South Park, besides, of course, where we are right now with the buffalo? And I know we have Greg here getting ready to feed them, and they're going to be strolling down over the hillside with us. But what else? What do you have here in the park for us?
South Park is one of 9 parks in our park system. It's the second largest, but South Park's one of the more special parks. It has 1.5 golf courses. It has a wave pool. It has the buffalo. Each park of the 9 have a signature feature. South Park, the buffalo are the signature feature. It's interesting, people don't know we have them, probably because sometimes they're hiding, you know, in the trees, just like they are now. We're going to get them down. But I think the hidden treasure is that you have a 2,000-acre park in your backyard that's open 365 days a year, free of charge, to come and do lots of types of recreation. The majority of people that use our parks use them for free. I mean, we have a lot of partnerships with the organizations that we work with. One of them is the Haunted House. We have one of the best haunted houses in the country. Each year they bring in significant amounts of dollars for nonprofits. We have some hidden treasures in this park, some old stone structures. One of them is called Stone Manse. One of them is called the Vale of Kashmir.
Wow.
And we had a swimming pool at one time where the VIP center is now, that if we had it today, Andy, we'd be world recognized. A gentleman named Paul Reese that designed North and South Park was the preeminent park designer of the era. He designed parks like Yellowstone, things like that. And he had a philosophy where, and it was really the sort of the American philosophy. In the old days, parks were sort of geometric shape like in Europe, you know, very formal gardens and formal things. And Paul Reese was part of the school of American architects that wanted parks to be more of a naturalistic theme. So Paul would build things that were 100% man-made, or he would design things 100% man-made, but they looked 100% natural. And some of these were these old stone structures that he was infamous for. We built the swimming pool, which someday I dream, and I know it's a wild dream, of digging it up and bringing it back, because I'm sure the county just buried it. But when we opened our new wave pool, which was cutting edge, one of the biggest wave pools in the world, we really didn't have what I will say is the proper appreciation for what we already had.
Right.
And I'm sure the thinking was, what do we need 2 swimming pools for?
No, I remember growing up. I born and raised in Bethel Park. I'm 52, and I've lived here my whole life. And I remember swimming in the old pool, and I remember Stone Manse, and I remember the natural springs feeding into it. And it's been a lot of fun growing up in South Park. But you know, in living in Bethel, I could walk to the park, so all summer long, that's all we ever did. Every morning we would, my brothers and I, we would just pack a lunch and would just walk to the park and spend the day in the park itself. And it was a joy. It was a thrill being 10, 11 years old and being able to spend a day in this kind of facility itself. But and along with that, like you were saying, the organizations, that my work with the Boy Scouts and the Girl Scouts, and they just love, they get a thrill out of having these facilities at their disposal. And in the South Hills itself, we have more Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts per capita than any other community in Pennsylvania.
Some of that might be leadership, Andy.
Well, okay,
you
but
guys are a good leader.
you know, but we enjoy having access to use these parks that you and your crew take care of. It's just amazing what you do in these 2,000 acres.
And Rich Daniels is our Public Works Park Manager, and I can't believe what he does with the people that he has. But we have partnerships with the theater group. You know, there's a South Park Theater that has first-class plays and things, and it's a partnership that we have with this nonprofit. We talked about the haunted house. I think the neat thing too about the area is if you look at satellite photos of the park, when we bought the park, it was in the middle of the country. You know, and as you look at success as time goes on, houses go closer and closer to the park. But right now, when you look down, the park is a huge green space surrounded by lots of houses.
When did the park come into existence?
About the 30s.
Okay.
And the buffalo were here back in the 30s. And believe it or not, along with the buffalo, we brought Indians from out west. And the Indians lived in the park for a couple of years and took care of the buffalo. And it was really a neat thing, living history, you know. Some folks don't ever get a chance to go out west to see buffalo.
Right.
You know, and I can only imagine when you see a few of these buffalo run, what it was like to have hundreds or thousands of them just running across the prairie at one time. I just can't imagine. It's been like a steam train.
Yeah, they're pretty big. I enjoy watching them. They are big, that's for sure. Well, also in the park itself, there's, you know, from the fairgrounds to all the groves to the cabins to the ice skating ring.
Right, the ice skating rink is big. We have probably 100 rentable facilities that you can come to the park and just have a picnic. And hey, you don't have to clean your house. You know, when your family comes, you can have the picnic in a park, and we'll have a grove all ready for you to have your family reunion.
You even built the brand new playground, didn't you?
We have a totally accessible playground, you know, and the neat thing is it's for everybody. Like quite often, the kids are regularly able, but grandma wants to take them to the playground, you know, and grandma's using a cane or something like that. Now the playground's accessible for everybody. We have one of the best action parks. We call it the 3 Bs parks, Andy. Bikes, blades, and boards.
There you go.
We have one of the best gravity features of anywhere around. Sort of one of my covert missions when I became director was to sort of bring gravity back in the park. And I know this is a tangent, but you can look at recreation and put them into 2 large groups. One group is things that have balls or pucks or things that you chase. Another thing is sort of like gravity, mountain biking, skateboarding, inner tubing, skiing, whitewater rafting. Those kind of things kind of harness gravity. And I've been trying to slip those things in the park because everybody's not into team sports,
right.
You know, and with technology, like when I used to run whitewater professionally, back in the 60s, only experts ran it, you know, and you had boats that weren't multi-compartment. Now, we run steep expert class whitewater in boats that have multiple departments that are self-bailing. You know, the water leaves them. But I mean, people like to play with gravity, and with the technology, you need less skill. We took the steepest part of our hills of our ski slope in Boyce and made it inner tubing. So now you can play with that gravity going down a hill and have absolutely no skill whatsoever. We've got lanes that are groomed. You get in that inner tube in that lane, you can't leave it. The old days, you had to know how to ski or you weren't playing that part of the hill. But South Park is really one of our flagship parks. Of the 9 parks, North and South came in the 30s. The other 6 or 7 parks came in the 60s and 70s. You know, so there was a flavor. We were building parks when it wasn't the norm or the trend. But again, Allegheny County wasn't normal.
No.
You know, it was one of the richest places in the planet around the turn of the century. With the Industrial Revolution and with the coal and the natural resources and the companies that we had here, you know, we were a special place, and because of that, we have a place like South Park, because they could afford to buy this. We could never afford to put this park together today, to assemble the acres.
Well, still, even the activities like the golf course, it's very inexpensive to play your golf course compared to any of the other public golf courses.
Thanks for pointing that out.
It's next to nothing. You can foursome can play golf there for what one person would pay at any other golf course itself.
I don't know about that, but it's a
good golf course.
A very, very quality course at a very reasonable price, and we have more rounds of golf than any golf course anywhere around. But that's our job, you know, to be the poor man's country club, to have quality recreation.
Even the tennis courts, the quality of the tennis courts and the ball fields and the main oval and the walking track. There's not a day that doesn't go by if I drive through the park. I don't see a couple hundred people just walking,
Listen, there could be a
walking, running, and so
snowstorm.
forth, and they're still there.
4 degrees in a snowstorm, and they'll be out there running or walking.
Yeah.
Another neat thing that South Park has that most of the other parks don't have is an amphitheater. And with that comes really quality concerts.
The summer concert series.
Our summer concert series, I don't know anywhere else you can come and get the quality of entertainment that we put on stage. And it's absolutely free.
I made the mistake the last time of coming a little late. It was hard to find a seat to it because
Right.
of the thousands of people that were here just to listen to the concerts itself. So
And we try to have
tremendous,
something for
tremendous.
everyone.
Yeah.
You know, country, rock, alternative, whatever.
Illegal is illegal, and that's what we have to take care of at the border. Why don't they put blimps up? I think one of the issues is flying airplanes is going to cost money. So I'd throw out, put a blimp up there, run blimps from both sides of the fence line, and they run probably at a...
How can Mr. Bolt have it so wrong? That is one of the worst ideas I have ever heard. Wait, what's this story? Military surveillance blimps tested at the Texas-Mexico border? Bolt had it right all along. Oh man, never gonna hear the end of this one.
Good morning, this is Mr. Bold calling for Mr. Dave Cable. Back in 2006, Mr. Bold was on Bethel Park right now, and if Mr. Bold recalls correctly, he was poo-pooed by Mr. Dave Cable back in 2006 for really being a wacko when it comes to suggesting blimps along the border. I told you back then that I hoped that I never saw anything official using the word blimp. Well, much to my enjoyment, the word blimp has been used in an official article when they talk about patrolling the borders. It's unfortunate that Bethel Park doesn't have any billboards because Mr. Bold would be looking for some type of public apology from Mr. Dave Cable regarding his poo-pooing of the suggestion of using blimps to patrol the borders. I await your call. Thank you.
I deserve that.
In 2011, the CDC reported that 20% of the U.S. population contracted the flu.
So do one thing this year. Get a flu shot. It can save your life as well as others.
For information on flu shots, contact Tri-Community South EMS.
And we're talking to folks. Someday this game preserve may be more. It could be like a wildlife rehab area. We could have more animals, but the county's going through tough times right now.
Sure.
I think a lot of government entities
Yes,
are.
absolutely. All
And
across the country.
I really want to do whatever we do it right.
Mhm.
You know, I'd rather do fewer things and do them right than have more animals and not give them the respect and the care that they need. I know one of the projects we're funded by the Regional Asset District. They give us 67% of our budget, and we've went to ask them. We have a squeeze box, which is behind us.
Okay.
You can't see it, but it's a metal contraption where you put the buffalo in when you have to give them, the doctor has to come, the vet, and give them shots or things like that, or we need to check them. We've asked the Regional Asset District, we need to move this squeeze box. We need to build a new corral around it. You know, we've asked for a significant amount of money to try to move the squeeze box and move the corral onto level ground. It was hard to work the animals. It was not safe for our workers the way it's set up. And third, Andy, it's wearing out. You know, the squeeze box is good because it's metal. We've kept up painting it and good care of it. But the wooden corral around it is falling apart. You know, and we really want it for the safety of our animals and our workers. We want to move the corral.
Yes.
Tell me about your buffaloes. How many do we have here in the park?
We presently have 14.
Okay.
12 adults and 2 calves that were born in May.
How big is the biggest?
Believe it or not, we have about 3 that are pretty much equal in size. And by biggest, you're talking weight.
Weight, yeah. 2,000 pounds?
Somewhere, I've never put them on the scale yet. But
You haven't?
It's,
Pick them up, hold them.
It's somewhere between 1,500 and 2,000.
And that's an average adult size for buffalo?
Pretty
or?
much, yeah. They can get larger depending on how much you feed them or overfeed them, whichever
How
way
many
you want to
times a
look
day
at
do
it.
you feed the buffalo?
One hearty breakfast meal, so to speak, and then an afternoon snack, which we just got done doing.
And with the 2 babies you had, what time of year are the babies born? Spring?
Generally always in May.
Always in May?
Right.
And how big is a baby buffalo usually?
A
100
good,
pounds?
a good birth weight is 40 to 50 pounds.
Wow. And how fast do they grow?
Well, as you can see, I don't know if you've seen them.
Yeah, I saw the one baby up there.
They can gain 10 pounds a month
Wow.
easily. I would have to say the female was born first, of course.
Okay.
Okay, and she's a little bit slow in picking up the weight because, of course, her mother's not wanting her to let her nurse as much as the male's more persistent. He's actually 9 days younger, and he's much larger because he's constantly nursing from, pushing the limits. He's also eating more.
How many years have you been here at the game reserve?
I've been up here for 15 years, and I'm working on my 28th year with Allegheny County.
And the size of the herd, is this an average size herd, or would the herd grown or shrunk, or is this?
Actually, we're above the standard for this amount of acreage. We really should have only about 12. So we're really 2 over.
But the people do love the buffalo. They come all the time to
absolutely
look
do.
for them.
Most I've ever had in the corral is 16, and we're going to have at least 4 calves born next
Are you?
May. So
Wow.
we may have to remove 1 or 2 before that occurs or build a bigger corral.
Yeah. What other animals do we have here at the game reserve?
Well, we have, of course, the peacocks. We have a pair of peacocks. Unfortunately, the female had passed away about a month or so ago, and we're in the process of getting another female for him.
Okay.
That's why he hasn't lost his tail feathers.
Okay. So this is late in the year for a male peacock to.
To be hanging on to his tail feathers, correct. As you know, Prada's a peacock. He wants to display those to attract the female.
Yep.
And he has nothing to attract, so he's hanging on to them longer than he normally would have. He should have lost them a week or 2 ago.
The buffalo can't jump the fence, though, can they?
No, they can't, but they can go through it.
Okay.
If they really wanted to.
They really wanted
They would
to.
have to be quite frightened.
Geese, ducks.
Well, we do have the displaced Canadian geese here
Okay.
that were, of course, American bred. They don't know where Canada is, so there's no chance of them migrating back to
Okay.
Canada.
Turtle, fish. You got your share in the pond.
Our pond out front has an abundance of carp, big carp, and there's of course goldfish, which are carp also, and there's of course aquatic turtles in there.
What's your favorite animal here?
Oh, it would have to be these big guys.
The buffaloes?
Back here.
There you go. Have you named them all?
No, as a matter of fact, I quit naming them probably about 8 years ago.
Do you have
endangered, and they were encouraging ranchers to actually breed them, and they brought them here originally into South Park as just as a holding pen. I was told, don't quote me on it, but I was told they brought in 100 at one time, and they were dispersing them out in pairs, male and female, to any rancher that was willing to take them, and that was back in the mid-20s. The ones that these are basically have bloodlines to would be ones that were brought in from out west. The remaining herds that were left out from out west. So, but the bloodlines that are here are original. I'm sure there's still bloodlines here from the original ones that were brought in 1927, because we've never been without any.
Oh, okay.
I mean,
so since they started, we've always had buffaloes here.
When I started up here 15 years ago, we were down to 5. We were down to 5, and 4 male and 1 female.
Oh, wow.
And for some reason, they weren't having a lot of success having female births. I don't know what that was all about. Probably because you only had 1 female.
Yep.
But we subsequently it removed three bulls, brought in 1 female, and then the herd started to flourish.
To grow again.
At one time, bison were in every state in the continuous 48 states.
Do you have to feed them more during the winter?
Absolutely.
Is this all just hay, or is there wheat or?
Well, they can't forage for any grass in the winter, of course, so
Okay.
you have to supplement the hay. And,
what do you supplement it with?
Pardon me?
What do you supplement it with? The hay.
Well, we give them cob corn.
Okay.
And we give them a specified horse feed that's applicable for their needs.
Yeah.
Has all the nutrients in it that they need.
Well cared for.
We've been taking pretty good care of them, but we wouldn't have this many.
Yeah.
Well, you have to make sure you have a proper water source for them. You have to deworm them twice a year. Put the proper chemicals either in their water supply or mix it in with their feed. That's to just to maintain their health that way. And then you have to have the vet come out at least semi-annually and make sure they don't have any odd diseases that could crop up. But we've been quite fortunate. They just got done breeding, so that's over with.
Okay.
That's every August.
And you said you're going to have 4?
At least 4, possibly 5.
Very nice.
So I'm predicting 4, but there's a slim possibility of a 5th one because we have a 2-year-old female in there, and I'm sure he didn't miss that.
You know, Andy, there's a comment I heard. Recreation is different things for different people. Isn't that one of your philosophies here in the park?
That is our saying. We try to have a little bit of something for everybody. And if it's not in this park, it'll be in one of the other 8.
Well, one of the other things, a couple things we haven't touched on is you do a lot with horses also in the park, not just when we say it's pet friendly, that's a larger pet, but you do a lot with horses.
We have an outdoor horse arena that a lot of public groups use. A lot of it is Penn State Extension and things like that. And we also have all the police horses are headquartered. We have a very special round barn. There's not too many of them in the country left. And the police keep their horses and work them in South Park, right by the fairgrounds. And they're great for crowd control from what I hear.
Well, something else that's very dear to my heart is you do an awful lot. This was one of the first flag retirement areas here in South Park itself.
That's correct. A retired Marine and a councilman got together and came up with a great idea to have this area where we respectfully retire flags. Now, I was really raised not to burn flags, but when you look into it, that's the best way to respect the flags.
Right.
So we built this large area with a big pit where we ceremonially burn these flags, and we have ceremonies. All the elected officials come, but we're burning them all the time, because we work with the Scouts.
Right.
And it's a place where we can respectfully burn the flag, and then we have 3 pipes buried in the ground, probably the length of telephone poles. and with caps that lock. And so when we take the ashes out of these pits, we put them in these pipes that are painted red, white, and blue, the caps of them, and that's where we respectfully retire the ashes. And we now have flags coming to us from all over the country.
Yeah.
They mail them in, and we probably can't burn them fast enough.
No, and I don't know, once this South Park one was built, that has to be one of the first in the country.
It was one of the first we know of that's publicly. Some of the VA, some associations that are related with the military, they had some, but we couldn't find any other public ones anywhere in the country that are just open to the public. You know, we don't charge a fee for this. The great thing for the one in South Park, we also have one in North Park, that's the only two we have, is the one in North Park is located right in the area where the Boy Scout facility or the Girl Scout facility is.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of synergy there. It's a great place. There's a lot of play between the Scouts and the flags as far as like the Scouts make every public flag retirement event we have. The Scouts are really the meat of bringing the flags and burning them and things like that. So it's a great partnership, and it turned out to be a good location.
Excellent. I understand, Andy, we have a BMX track.
That's correct. Not only a BMX track, we have the #1 rated BMX track in the country for many years. It's kind of a well-kept secret, but we have a great partnership with a nonprofit, South Park BMX Group. Together, we have made something that individually we probably couldn't do ourselves. And it is the model. So if you want to build a BMX track out in California, people will say, hey, check out what they're doing in South Park. Look at the South Park BMX track. The BMX magazines who rate themselves, rate our park. Our BMX track is #1 in the country several years in a row now. And again, a great partnership between volunteers and the county. And that's another gravity sport.
That's it.
But that was one that was here before I came.
Well, this park is also pet friendly.
Absolutely. Your dogs are allowed anywhere in the park on leash. And then we've created an off-leash area where, like I know I have 2 large dogs, Dobermans. I can't wear out a Doberman on leash. You know, they just have much more energy. The only way I could do it is on a bicycle.
Oh, wow.
You know, but you can bring them to areas like this where there's large areas fenced off, and you're allowed to take your dog off leash and just let them run with other dogs. And then the other dogs they wear each other out, and then everybody goes home tired, and it's probably a better evening.
Yes, it is. And we have, I know you have a gazebo here that there's a lot of weddings at also.
There is. There's a small gazebo. I think weddings are a good business. It's a quality place. It's very inexpensive. They get married at the gazebo, maybe come to some of our rental facilities and have the banquet and the celebration, the dinners and meals. But
how about how many structures, buildings do you actually have in the park?
There's probably over 80 shelters and probably 10 or so buildings, you know, that we manage.
And once again, hats off to your staff, your maintenance staff, for doing it.
Let me tell you, I'm the guy sitting in a chair, but I will not take the credit for it. There's an army of people, both in the Public Works Department, in the Parks Department, and in the Police Department, that help make this park a safe and friendly and enjoyable place to be.
Well, like we said, this is a gem for us in the South Hills and Bethel Park, South Park, to have it. This is truly one of our hidden treasures, and we appreciate the time you've given us today just to brag about the facilities that you have here.
Let me say, it's more than my pleasure, and it's great to get the word out, because these are your parks, you know.